In late 2014, Mia Khalifa became the #1 performer on the biggest adult website in the world. She generated millions of views and massive profits for distribution networks like Pornhub. Yet she walked away from the industry with only $12,000, death threats from ISIS, and a destroyed reputation. Today, her reality looks entirely different. She's a multi-millionaire sitting front row at Paris Fashion Weeks, running her jewelry business, mingling with A-list celebrities. Then you have someone like Sophie Rain. In 2022, she was a 19-year-old waitress at a Florida Italian restaurant, struggling to pay her bills. 3 years later, she had generated an estimated $95 million. The catalyst for that fortune was a case of mistaken identity. A leaked explicit video of someone dressed as Spider-Man circulated online, and the internet convinced itself it was Sophie. Instead of fighting the rumor, she leaned into it, dressing up as the character on TikTok, to funnel a massive wave of free algorithmic traffic straight to her paid platform. Stories like this feed a popular cultural narrative. We tend to view platforms like OnlyFans as a victory for independent creators, providing a system that allows them to build wealth without relying on physical studio bosses. This moves past the narrative of individual empowerment to examine how the adult industry adopted the same decentralized, app-based logic used by major tech firms to manage global labor forces. To understand the shift, we have to look at the baseline of the analog era. Performers like Mia were typically recruited off the street by men, asking them to come down to physical studios in Miami to model. The economics of that traditional model were entirely controlled by gatekeepers. Distribution relied on VHS tapes or specific studio websites, and performers were paid a flat rate per scene. They had zero access to the back-end profits. The realization that raw attention could bypass those gatekeepers actually started decades ago. In 2007, an explicit video of a young Los Angeles socialite leaked to the public. Instead of ruining her, it built an empire. While the media focused on the scandal, executives ran the numbers. They realized that high-profile, scandalous attention could be systematically repackaged into lucrative television deals and mainstream business ventures. Modern creators have internalized that exact logic. A performer named Chloe Cherry spent years building an audience on adult sites, then filmed a parody of a popular teen drama. That specific attention landed her an audition for the actual show, successfully scaffolding her career into mainstream acting and high fashion. These creators proved a core truth of the modern internet. You do not need a studio executive to greenlight your career if you can find a way to hijack the audience's attention. The shift to self-publishing platforms reframed the core product. Instead of explicit scenes, creators began selling monetized intimacy and the illusion of personal access to an attractive person. Operating on these platforms requires playing by the rules of social media algorithms. The market logic strictly rewards whatever generates the fastest dopamine hit and the highest engagement. To stay relevant, performers have to constantly escalate their behavior. We see creators faking their own arrests, staging pregnancies, or renting out Airbnbs to sleep with over 100 men in a single day, all to manufacture viral moments. These are not reckless, spontaneous decisions. The people orchestrating these stunts run sophisticated logistics and marketing operations that rival tech startups. They treat their own bodies purely as a vehicle for shock value. The adult content industry integrated into the social media ecosystem, using the same engagement loops as any other viral marketing campaign. These women are operating as entrepreneurs who understand how to optimize traffic better than almost anyone else in the room. This chart shows the extreme wealth inequality built into the platform's model. For every multi-millionaire creator grabbing headlines, there is a massive base of tens of thousands of women uploading content who make pennies, often earning far below minimum wage. The platform operates exactly like Amazon or Fiverr. It functions as an infinitely expanding catalog where creators are forced to constantly undercut each other's prices just to get noticed, generating massive volumes of microtransactions that funnel straight to the top. Above the creators sits an invisible layer of power. Faceless executives, shell companies, and massive holding groups like MindGeek actually own the digital infrastructure and control the flow of money. These platforms are backed by mainstream institutional capital. Major banks like J.P. Morgan Chase have managed hundreds of millions in investment for the conglomerates that own these sites. Because this capital is rolled into broad market portfolios, the profits from these platforms flow back into traditional institutions. This means that through diffuse investment networks, ordinary retirement funds and university endowments like Cornell's are indirect stakeholders in the explicit gig economy. The women on the screen bear all the physical, social, and reputational risks of the content. Meanwhile, the true generational wealth is safely extracted by traditional, invisible investors who never have to show their faces. The modern creator economy markets itself as an avenue for personal freedom. In reality, its structural foundation is a hyper-efficient data and content extraction machine. The effectiveness of this model is that it removes the need for physical bosses. Companies realize they no longer have to explicitly coerce workers. They just have to build an app that incentivizes workers to commercialize themselves. The adult gig economy did not eliminate exploitation. It simply gave creators the tools to manage their own exploitation, take a marginally better cut of the profits, and call the result empowerment.